carve it. So there's a very simple method of doing it, right? We're going to remove the live branches because we're going to be turning all of this into dead wood. We don't want the live branches getting in the way, right? We have this nice deadwood gin feature here, okay? Now, how do we carve something that is so heavy and powerful? We need a heavy, powerful tool. Now, this is a root cutter, but yeah, sure. But actually, this is the perfect tool to work on deadwood. Why? Because you can split fibers away pretty easily. So the key to doing this is splitting lengthwise and then rolling back.
Look at that, Janet.
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
Like a pro.
Bring it to Alan's tomorrow. We'll finish your part.
Uh-huh.
And if we finish this, look at that nice
Oh.
curvature.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
it's there.
It's just as simple as using the right tool. You don't have to get dusty, with all the, heavy carving with the machine. You only need the right tool to get it to work easy and fast, actually.
And you'll go back and use the spherical cutter later?
And then after I'm satisfied with the carving, we'll do some rough carving on this, but you guys get the idea?
No.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dead, period.
So now what we need to do is kind of remove the live bark. And if the juniper is growing strong, then the live bark will be kind of easy to remove, right? And we just do this by crushing with pliers. Now, some interesting idea about removing live bark is that you don't really need to delineate the shari when you're removing live bark. If you just take a sliver of live bark, just kind of pull it down, it will follow its natural path. And then you're sure that you're not cutting into the actual live line of the tree, what's maintaining the tree alive. So I'm using a dentist tool to kind of lift the bark. I'm separating from the xylem or the sapwood. Also, you can get this at Harbor Freight. Yeah.
Dental
You
tool?
can get it at,
Really?
flea market.
Yeah, dental tool.
That's where we
You
go.
can go online and order inexpensive dental tools too, because I have ordered inexpensive tools from the OR that I used to use.
I have inside sores.
I like shopping there.
So the nice thing about the dental pick is that it's blunt, one end, right? And if it's blunt, it will not scratch the wood. It will only remove the live tissue.
So that's a regular dental pick. Is
Yes,
that what you would
it's a
call it?
regular dental pick. yeah.
Flea market.
So, just to do this quickly, I will do some polishing of the surface so that you can see what's the end result.
How far toward the roots can you go? in this technique?
I try not to go into the root ball because if deadwood touches wet area, it will start to rot. Especially on something that is young. You see that this is all sapwood. So something like this, over time, you might want to treat it with a wood hardener because it's going to rot out pretty easily. When you're dealing with older junipers, then you will have the purple heartwood, which is really what
Oh, there
Can you
it
turn it
is.
around real
Okay,
quick so we can see over here? Can you spin it around? Just so we can see what's going on over here.
You can work on this part.
If you have some talent, you can actually kind of suggest. Yeah, maybe if you have that kind of talent, you can choose it. And sometimes it happens accidentally. You can suggest things. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's just a little fast, rough work.
Now,
Now, if you
junipers
spend
are,
more time with more wheels, you can get the details out more. If you come in with smaller tools that kind of pick smaller strands of wood, then you can get more detail into, big thick piece of wood like that.
Juan,
Yes.
if you have a fairly young
Well, I
juniper,
like
you're
the
letting it
point
develop,
here, so
and
that's
you
gonna
want to
have, it'll
establish
look better with the
deadwood
point,
in
I
the
can see
future.
that already.
Do you let those branches
Jeannie,
grow
that's gonna
out,
have to
grow
happen.
out,
See
grow
how this
out?
is a
Do you
point?
ever cut them back to make that piece thicker?
Yes, if you're growing out a gin, for example, on a juniper, let's say you have an empty area and you have this one branch that you want to make into an interesting gin, you can wire it, let it grow, and then when it's the thickness that you want, you cut it back, peel the bark, and you can grow your own gin
Yeah.
if you have the patience to do it.
But what I'm saying is in that process of growing, do you cut it back from time to time? Does that thicken it, or do you just let it keep going? Just let it keep going.
Let it grow and it'll get thicker.
Okay.
If you keep cutting it back, there's no reason to.
Okay, so
just
we're
let it
gonna
grow
set
out.
up a little guy wire on this tree to kind of help
Yeah, we'll
it
put
come
this
down.
on the ground.
So you see that I have wrapped the branch with raffia. I have used number 8 copper gauge on it. So I will kind of open up a little space in between the wire and the branch so I can slide in
Oh,
a guy wire. And I want the bend to happen right here. I don't want the bend to happen, I want the bend to happen right at the base, not at the top. Why? Because if I do it at the top, it's
It'll
gonna
crack.
look like a little
Oh.
weeping tree. It's not gonna look like a contorted conifer, right? So to set up the guy wire, I will measure the amount of copper that I need
And why do you use
and
copper?
double it up.
Why copper?
In this case, I want to tie to this little gin here. Copper in general is stronger than aluminum, so and I can use really small diameters as guy wires. However, one thing with copper is that it tends to oxidize. So if you anchor it to gin, it might leave a little black mark.
you were
there.
using stainless steel before.
I use stainless steel, but with like heavy.
Yeah,
Bigger-
this is
bigger branch.
overkill for this.
Yes, actually.
You could actually do that with just with wire, couldn't you? Rather
It
than
actually,
guy wire it?
I want to do it with the guy wire so I can do it slowly and I have more control. But probably with the wire it will hold. So we'll see.
I mean, that's
I don't
not
want to
the-
bend it and just have to. When you're doing a bend, you want to bend it down and let it be. You don't want to like bend it. It doesn't hold. It springs back up. Then I do a guy wire. Then the guy wire doesn't hold. Then I'm gonna apply a second wire. Gonna bend it some more. No, you do it all slowly in one go, and that's it. You just go until you hear the crack.
Just put a turnbuckle on there and crank it down every week or so?
You could.
That's something that you can do. Actually, I'm gonna reverse this because I'm gonna be working from the top.
It's something that won't break.
Strong.
So you see here that I have no angle to tighten this guy wire. So I reverse it. I'm gonna tighten from the top instead of from the bottom.
Don't
Use the
guy wires
raffia.
tend to snap back or spring back when you take your guy wires off?
So that's the main reason why you need wires too. It's the scar of the wire that will help set the branch in place. If you just work with guy wires, yes, branches tend to go back.
Guy wire seems to be kind of your thing.
I like to use both. So I'm gonna try to kind of bring it down to here. I think I have enough green up here, try to make a canopy out of it. And if there's not enough green to make a canopy, at least I can grow it. But I think this long branch is actually too long and too leggy to become the canopy of the tree.
Right.
So I would rather just try to bring it down and try to frame the tree from this side and this side.
Now, when the guide wire is hitting that bend there,
Mhm.
is it gonna scar that?
yeah, how,
Or would you put
Should you
It's all
pad
rubber.
that?
It's already dead at the bottom. But it may leave a scar there, a vertical scar.
Maybe it's,
It's not typical.
So you see that the guy wire is holding on to the wire, not to
and
the
you're
branch.
pulling the wire, not the plant.
Yes, I'm pulling the wire, I'm not putting pressure on the branch. I'm putting pressure on the wire, and then the wire is bringing the branch down.
Because the guide wire is on your wire that's wiring the branch.
So what?
Is that where you have to
Just
attach?
put a pad there.
Oh, it's not hitting it. It's not hitting it.
Oh, it is.
There's a little bit of,
Well, how about, well, even on the other wood, it'll scar. A straight,
probably will leave a little mark, but it's not really significant.
or you just
Bicycle or two.
grind it out. Oh, yeah, just grind it
Oh,
out.
but on the wood,
Yeah.
if it's not high
The wood,
pressure,
who cares?
yeah, but if it does touch the wood, we can put a little bit of
Or
cushion
when you
on.
get done, you just grind it out.
When you take it off, and if it does scar the wood, I just sand it out.
Yeah.
How long would you leave that wire on, is theoretically?
This probably less than a year. Less than a year. If it grows strong, right? So the problem is, you bend it and you cut all the tips, and then the tree doesn't grow, and then it never sets, and it just rises up again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the guide wire that would be the problem, would be you have to look at your copper wire, your winding wire.
So one little trick to get more grip, one little trick to get more grip on the copper is to bend the tip on its own so you get a little hook, and then you get better grip with your pliers.
There's more than one way of doing it.
Yep.
Sure. I like the turnbuckle just because it's easy. Just get in there and twist it once in a while.
He's doing essentially the same thing.
Oh, I'm gonna like
Yeah,
it.
it's just
Oh,
the
it's
other
gonna
end.
be so much prettier.
At the middle.
Right.
Okay, so we've done a little bit. I probably want a little more. So when you do a bend, this kind of, you see that this unraveled a little bit. So probably that means that I should have gone the other way around. However, branches were so tight up here that I chose to go this way because it worked better with wiring all the branches. So it meant, ideally, if I had the opportunity or the space, I should have gone the other way around or gone tighter with this wire, even tighter.
When you,
So that's another advantage of raffia, protection. You can wire tight. You're not gonna damage the branch.
when you were doing that, could you,
Yes.
were you listening to hear anything? I know that's kind of a
Yes.
stupid question.
No,
No,
but you do,
no.
you do. There's no stupid questions. You do have to listen out for damaging things.
And you feel it too.
And the screams.
In your bones sometimes.
I have to look to see where he has the wire. on where
So
he
you're
wrapped
wanting
it.
it to crack?
So the guy wire just slipped, and that's a problem with copper.
Yeah.
So I need somebody to
Hold
please help me.
Get the wire.
So it's already bent, but we don't want to let this go up and then down again. We need to hold it in the same place.
Double it up.
That's about it. Thank you.
I think you have metal fatigue mounting on the road.
Yeah.
So twist it around.
Been there, done that when I'm wearing
No,
it.
Thank you. Just twist it tight. Not this way. That's good. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So bending, you always find challenges on the way because things, even though you prepare for things, normally